gunfire in the distance. It helps you sleep. And knowing that there are people out there. If there are people coming in and nobody's firing, then it's quiet and peaceful. A fine day to die type of thing. Except, wouldn't you rather know when they're coming? Talked about this like yesterday, maybe the day before. I held it up and I did the whole Da Vinci Code thing where you write everything backwards. Nobody knows what the hell you're writing. They don't even know where you're coming from if they don't know that it's written backwards. Especially now that they're not teaching kids to read cursive. That's a funny thing, isn't it? Why wouldn't they be teaching kids to read cursive anymore? Because the goddamn Constitution was written in cursive. And there has to be some kind of interpretation made between it because the F looks like an S and all this stuff. But the further you get away from anybody understanding anything, yeah, I can guarantee you, if people still really knew how to read Egyptians, we'd be building pyramids all over the place. But look, so I wrote it backwards, and this thing, it's an old book that I pulled out of my writings, and I realized that a couple days ago I started trying to read it. I can write backwards in cursive. That's the way to go. All you have to do is pretend you're left-handed and you move your hand that way across the page the way they have to their whole lives to be a part of our society. You just say, okay, I will walk a mile in your shoes and I will write a goddamn gospel of lies. Something like that, you know. How do you do it? But yeah, that's it. I held the picture up. If you wanted to take a screenshot of it, you could look at it in the mirror. I said that a couple of days ago, and I made it one of my thumbnails. But what I did just now, just to make it simple, I took another book in there. I took another book in, and I held that one up to the mirror so I could write the story backwards because, you know, I'm not going to be able to do this and that all at the same time. And so I got a book in here. Science! And so I put that up in the mirror and I wrote it in the way that we could read it. And it says here, just act natural. Act like you like me. Act like we've been standing in a garage for 2 hours in a place where it says, you're not gonna like this. Act like 3 to 5 days later you tell somebody that was in that garage, I really liked that guy. Even though I said, you're not gonna like this. You want to talk about somebody who's saying it straight and true without lying? Oh my gosh. Long time ago, I wrote that in there. I wrote it like Da Vinci so nobody could read his writings. Nobody guesses that you're writing backwards. I started in kindergarten. They said, write your name on the left-hand side of the goddamn paper at the top. So I'd write it. And then they switched it over to the other side and they said, write your name at the right-hand top. And whereas I think they were probably going for spatial recognition to see if a kid knew how far he had to go back to get his name in there, I found it much more reliable to just write it backwards because you could fit it all in there. So my name was written backwards, and they called my mom into the school and said, he's fucking crazy. And she's like, what's crazy about that? And then I read later that Da Vinci used to write stuff backwards. And so immediately I just started, it came very natural. I would write things backwards. So now if I want to read anything to you, I got to fucking hold it up in front of a mirror and write it down. I did it. I did it. Look at this. I didn't even know what I was getting from so many years ago. It says, I may never know, but I pray that it is not true. For I shall truly grieve the day it is confirmed I am a heartless bastard with no room in this wretched shell for love. Amazingly enough, I read the last page first. What are the odds? Let's go. I feel an ache inside, and it's this. Look. I feel an ache inside. And it's though I've lost the only love I've ever known, and possibly the only love I ever will know. But is that really it? I was not yet done with her. If given the chance, would I have simply grown weary of her and discarded her, never to think of her again? I may never know, but I pray that is not true. For I shall truly grieve the day it is confirmed I am a heartless bastard with no room in this wretched shell for love. In case you wondered what I'd written there, and truly, if we wonder what I'd written there and what it was all about, and I think, when did that happen? And then I see upside down and backwards, I say, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved and set me free. Quit fucking with me. Just take your religion and leave me be. Freedom shouldn't warrant a price. Live and let live. Wouldn't that be nice? That was born 11 January 1994. So evidently the page before, yeah, it's a long time ago. Things have come around, things have been good. There's one right here with a slash through it that's called Greed, Hate, and Envy. That means I used it on the radio at some point between 97 and 2002 or 3. Greed, hate, envy, be distinguished as such. I'm reading it backwards. Ah, the passion I feel for you is anything but true. Greed, hate, envy. Well, mourning, like crying over something with a U, over your lack of ability to gain favor in the eyes of a woman, the superficial warmth of a woman's arms. Be consoled in knowing they are of that which causes war. They, as with any coveted object, unable to be shared equally by all, bring out our worst qualities, those, in fact, which make us human, those which allow us to be distinguished as such: greed, hate, envy. Bestial, but so damn celestial. Hey, you want to talk about the Nephilims? That they were angels that were banging monkey human beings. This is why there's so much trouble. Nobody knows who anybody is anymore. And the biggest problem with nobody knowing anybody anymore is not that they don't know anybody anymore. It's that they feel like that's so damn important. Hey, thanks for showing up. And I want you to remember you're the most important part of the Judas resurrection. This stuff was written in 1994. It threw me off. I feared that it was more recent, but probably the biggest fear of all is that it's gone right back to the beginning.